A major development and a story that has frustrated Mission residents for nearly 20 years. A judge ruled yesterday that the bank can move forward with foreclosing on the Mission Gateway site. That empty eyesore has sat stalled since 2006. Our Samantha Boring has been investigating what this property has cost the city and what happens next. And she joins us now to go behind the story. Hello, Samantha. How's it going?
Hi, it's going well. Glad to be here.
Of course. You know, and this is all so very timely, this conversation, us having this today, especially with those major developments yesterday. So what does this ruling mean for Mission exactly?
Well, of course, we know this still means more waiting. This is big news for Mission, of course, to know that the bank can move forward with the foreclosure sale and the foreclosure of their mortgage. This is something that's been talked about for many years through litigation as well as within the community. So pretty soon, in a few months maybe within the next year, we could see a new owner at that site, just depending on what exactly happens with that foreclosure sale. But on top of all of this, we knew that bench trial was coming. There were two, one in November, one in December, and then we've been working behind the scenes on these public records requests that we've uncovered.
And without further ado, let's dive into your investigative work.
Taking a trip down Johnson Drive, you'll find a little bit of everything in Mission. A print shop.
We do business cards, brochures, we do wide format, we do graphic design.
Okay, get your coffee also here.
A lunch stop.
I was very interested in serving him some nice cuisine, yeah.
But head east and the Mission charm fades to this. A silent, unused space.
The negativity is the Gateway Center.
It's a black eye for the city of Mission.
How did this become Mission's black eye? The once thriving Mission Mall came down in 2006.
I used to go over there and I had lunch out there in that one area, and it was a nice little, decent little mall.
Then make way for the Gateway, a mixed-use project full of promises. Now in 2025, the site tells a story of momentum lost.
I share the frustration of all the residents when I see the site.
In 2023, the City of Mission cut ties with the agreement and the developer, Aria Realty LLC. And now nearly $1.5 million in unpaid property taxes are tied to the Gateway. Something the mayor says they can enforce. That's up to the county, who has their own policy before taking action.
Someone comes forward with a project for the site, we can kind of be firm and say we're not considering anything until you get square with your taxes, but that's only the only real lever that we have.
The city continues to face criticism for the stalled site.
So many years that they have problem with that. And whatever the case is or whatever the issue is, I think it's the city's fault. They should do something about it.
The city is kind of stuck in terms of what we can do.
An email since 2023 show the city has tried. Email after email asking the developer to take care of the site. This August, City Administrator Laura Smith asking, what is it going to take to address the condition of the site? Sharing these photos. The developer's response, as you know, we're in a very difficult position, but we will do what we reasonably can to help.
I think it's not good enough.
We wanted to know just how much does it cost to keep this site up? Well, our public records requests show the City of Mission has spent a little more than $15,000 since 2023. Taxpayer money spent on fence repair, mowing the perimeter, and court costs.
They've spent more than $15,000.
The city? We did? Our city? Out of our money? Our tax dollars? That's a lot of money, $15,000.
We focused on a couple of what we viewed as, critical safety items.
A small city spending its money up front, but for how long? That's what many neighbors want to know.
We can only expect so much out of our residents in terms of us fronting money to work on that site when it might be, several years before we see that return.
Mayor Flores says the city adds that money to the developer's tax bill. They even took the developers to Mission Municipal Court earlier this year for failure to remove debris, structures, and graffiti. No one ever showed up.
It makes me mad every time that we have an unresponsive developer.
So what is the solution?
This is small potatoes to what really needs to be done.
Longtime Mission homeowner Jay Meyer thinks the city needs a high-powered attorney to get someone else in to develop the space.
They don't have a plan. They're just hoping it'll get solved. It's not going to get solved.
Mayor Flores says the city has no legal grounds right now to do anything.
That would be the next steps, is working with whoever the owner is at the end of the litigation process to make a positive development for the city of Mission.
And that's what many are wanting.
If there is something there, will help us, will help the businesses around us, because in this time we need it.
Something that finally makes way instead of sitting silent.
I reached out to the developer to see where does this project stand and why haven't they responded to code violations? They didn't respond. The court case with the developers in the city of Mission is unresolved with no date currently set. In Mission, Samantha Boring, KCTV 5 investigates.
Alrighty, Samantha, I have so many questions for you. I do want to first start off. You spoke to some business owners. You also spoke to some residents. Have you checked back in with them? Have you heard from them after the ruling yesterday?
Yeah, we did talk with one of them. He was actually emailing me last night. And of course, and we've talked with the city as well, I think everyone views this change with the foreclosure sale as progress.
Right.
So that does feel good. But I think they're still very hesitant because it is concerning to know that this has taken nearly 20 years for something to happen. I think they're patient, but also, you know, I would be hesitant as well, just because, I mean, it's hard to understand and be trustful of what's going on when they've felt burned in a sense.
Yeah, and for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, I can only imagine just being a resident and just this sitting here, what we're seeing here on our screens. So walk us through what the judge actually decided yesterday. What exactly can the bank do in this moment right now?
So the judge pretty much said that the bank can now move forward with the foreclosure sale. There's been kind of a discussion of whether or not that's allowed to happen within the litigation. The big thing to note, though, is while they can start the sale now, that's going to take a while before the bank can just decide, like, oh, we're going to put this massive development up for sale, because obviously there's leftover construction material. There's a structure that's still sitting there that hasn't been used. So it's going to be up to the next person to decide, what am I going to do with this site? Will they be tearing that down? How will that all work? Because it hasn't been touched for quite a few years.
Right.
So there's that aspect. And then if it does sell, that money will go into a court trust. And then that is when the court will have to decide on, there's still claims by contractors, construction groups that this realty group, Aria Realty LLC, the developer, worked with. So those still have to be worked out, as well as claims with the bank. So once that is all finished, then the court will use that trust money to decide how they proceed with the funds. So maybe the bank gets it first, the contractor gets it first. That's where they go with that. And then how that will all work. So it's going to be a huge sale, though. We know it's going to be tens of millions of dollars, because it's a massive space in the city of Mission, and it's really one of the last spaces that can be developed by the city.
And I know you touched on that, the court supervised trust. So like for me, if I am a Mission resident, what does that mean for me as a taxpayer? Should I be concerned about that moving forward? What should I do with that information?
I mean, this doesn't really affect taxpayers in that foreclosure sense, but what really is affecting taxpayers and what people should be aware of is, you know, we had those public records requests show that the city has spent a little more than $15,000 in the last few years to clean up just the perimeter of the site. The city says they're trying to keep that at a minimum, but it does address safety concerns, because it can be dangerous for people, say they're walking their pets nearby, anything like that, or driving nearby and say there's a fence falling down, something like that. So that's why they felt that they've had to address that. So that's a big thing, is like just being aware of what the city is spending on that, but they are open with us about that. And then on top of that, we know that they owe nearly $1.5 million in property taxes from 2024 and 2025. The county is the one who can take action on that. So if taxes were to go delinquent longer than 3 years, is what they tell us, then they can take action and sell the site. But obviously the bank is already having that opportunity, so we'll have to kind of see how that plays out. But really, for the city of Mission, they want to see those taxes paid out, because that is nearly $1.5 million that could be going to taxing jurisdictions, not only Mission, but the school district, the libraries, those public entities that receive those tax dollars. And when you're a resident paying your own taxes.
Right.
We've heard, it's frustrating for people to hear that there's this massive development that isn't.
The people that you spoke to, the numbers you brought to them, I remember that one guy specifically. He's like, wait, that's it?
Jose.
Like, that's what we're paying? So I do want to go back to that community reaction of it all. One resident said that the city doesn't have a plan and needs a high-powered attorney. I mean, did you bring that frustration to the mayor?
Yeah.
What was the reaction there?
Yeah, so that was Jay Meyer. He's been in the city of Mission for about 45 years. We met him at Moss Printing and talked with him about this. And when I showed him the $15,000, he felt like, he said it was small potatoes compared to what is really going on with this site.
Right.
And he feels that there is a high-powered attorney needed in this case. But I asked the city, can you take them to court? Can you do anything? We know they've taken them to Mission Municipal Court for violations of not responding to those code violations, which is mowing, repairing the fences, cleaning up graffiti, debris, those kinds of things. But no one ever showed up. So the city of Mission has tried to do things, and the mayor told us they really don't have any leeway right now to take the developer to court. And we know there's already a massive court case going on. The city of Mission is not involved in that. And I think they're doing what they can, but it's really hard when this is a privately owned space that has never been owned by the city of Mission. And they see the frustration and feel the frustration just as much as people that live nearby.
So, Samantha, you have been covering this story for some time, doing the investigative work. With everything that happened yesterday, the major development, the ruling, do you think that a change is finally coming for this area?
It's a start, and I think that's what the city feels as well, is this is movement, progress, something they've been waiting for decades. I mean, when I was a little girl, I remember driving by and seeing that mall, and then I remember as a teenager seeing it be like it is today. I mean, it's just gotten progressively worse, and I think everyone can agree that they would like to see that space developed or turned into something and not just an eyesore. So it is movement and progress in a sense, but again, like the attorneys told us, like the city told us, it's going to take time and it's going to take more patience. And I think that's tough for the city of Mission when you've waited so long, especially because, I mean, there were works or plans in the works at the time that this could have been done this year, but just so many things have stalled it, and really it's been a long time since the city has seen any sort of major progress with that site after ending the development agreement in 2023. So I think it is, like I said, a start and big news for Mission, but still there's a lot of waiting still to be had.
I know this grabbed a lot of people's attention yesterday. I saw it all come through my phone yesterday as well. You were pretty busy, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, running around.
But looking ahead, I mean, what are you watching for next, really, as this story develops?
I mean, the biggest thing we're going to be watching is the sale. Who is going to be interested in buying this site? What would they do with this site? I mean, those columns you're looking at right there, those were supposed to be for apartments with retail on the bottom. The massive building you see there was supposed to be an entertainment building with
so much space,
axe throwing, movie theaters, all sorts of fun stuff. There was an aquarium teased there at one point. The parking structure was supposed to house all the cars when people show up. So I think people just really want to see that happen. And for us on our end, it's, continuing to follow up with the city, seeing if that foreclosure sale will really go through on the bank side, who will be buying that, because we know right now the people that currently own it are based out of New York City. And something we've heard from residents and people that live around here is they want to see a local developer take this over, just because they have more, game in this area. They know the area pretty well, and they feel like that might be, there might be more progress if they're actually involved directly.
Yeah. And like you as well, who said, like, I grew up here, I went when it was a mall, but again, so much space, so much opportunity in that area. And I didn't know anything. I didn't put the pieces together when I saw that you were working on this story. But I've been past this area, and I'm like, wow. So that's what it was, and this is what it is now.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine the frustration. Well, we hear it there in your story from the residents who expect so much more. They've been waiting for so much more. So again, your work will continue, but we do want to direct our viewers to our website, kctv5.com. This is currently posted on our homepage. You can go to Samantha's story, read a little bit more information, and you can also watch the story there again, and of course, right here on KCTV 5+. Samantha, thank you so much for going behind the story with me today.
Thanks, Janae.